Every household has that one guest who visits, praises everyone, and still manages to start a quarrel before leaving. Here, the guest is Rishi Narad. So, after the great churning of the ocean, Narad saw who got what: gems, gold, elephants, horses. Everyone had their share. Everyone except one. And Narad, being Narad, thought, why not tell Shiva about this? And that is where today's story begins, from the Bengali Mahabharata by Kashidas, where Durga and Shiv have what can only be called a very married conversation. Narad reached Kailash, the home of Shiv and Durga. Now in Bengal, Durga isn't just the fierce goddess of battle, she is also Parvati herself, the lady of the house beside Shiva. When Narad bowed before them, Durga smiled warmly and said, Rishi, what brings you here? And with his usual mix of innocence and mischief, Narad said, Mother, I've just come from the churning of the ocean. Everyone got something. Vishnu got goddess Lakshmi and his gem, Kaustav. Indra got his elephant and horse. Humans got herbs. But when I looked around, I realized Kailash got nothing. Nothing at all. Isn't that strange? Shiv sat quietly. Durga's smile started to fade. Now, here is that moment when one person says something they shouldn't and the other person just can't hold back anymore. Durga flared up. Narad, how can you say something like that? Look at your lord. He wears ornaments made of bone. What would you do with jewels like Kaustav? He smears himself with ash. Why would he want something like sandalwood paste? He has a bull, not a horse and an elephant. What would he do with those? You could almost hear the sigh in Narad's head. Why did I even open my mouth? Shiva smiled. You could say it was a smile of someone who's used to being scolded and has learned the art of surviving it. He turned to Narad and said gently, Don't mind her, my friend. She's right, I'm happy with what others reject. When no one wanted the tiger skin, I took it. When everyone chose sandal placed in musk, I accepted ash. No one wanted the bull, so I took the bull. There was pride in his simplicity, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that says, I'm fine as I am. I am Shiva. But Durga wasn't done yet. She leaned forward and said, Enough of renunciation, Mahadev. You are a householder now. You cannot only live by detachment. Prosperity, knowledge, dignity, these are part of life too. Turning away from them is cowardice. Now imagine being called a coward by Durga herself. That's when Shiva's famous calm began to crack. The ash on his face couldn't hide the flush of anger. His eyes blazed, he rose, trembling with rage. Nandi, he called, bring the bull, we're going to the ocean. And Narad, well, let's just say it was time to leave. What followed was a sight to behold. Shiva tightened the tiger skin around his waist, placed the moon properly on his head, slung his bow and quiver, and took up his trident and mace. His army of yakshas, spirits, and followers armed themselves. The ground shook as he beat his drum, the damaru. Mountains trembled. When he climbed his bull, Kartikeya led the march on his peacock, Ganesh followed on his mouse, and behind them, the whole host of beings filled the sky. Shiva's calm face was gone. This was fury on the move. This whole exchange between Shiva and Durga, it isn't just a domestic quarrel. It is about two different ways of living. Shiva stands for that quiet simplicity, taking what comes, not running after what shines. And Durga, or Parvati as she is called elsewhere, brings the other side, the part that says, yes, but we live in this world and we have to care about respect, livelihood, and dignity. It's quite like the tug of war we face. One part of us wants to keep life simple. The other part says, be practical. Both voices are right in their own ways. The trick, as always, is balance. Too much detachment and people forget you exist. Too much engagement and you forget you exist. And so, the calmest being of the universe set out in anger, all because Durga had called out to him. In Kashidas' Mahabharata, this isn't just a quarrel. It is a moment that feels deeply human. One person connects with simplicity, the other urging engagement with the world. Both right, both needed. Sometimes peace needs pride, and sometimes pride needs peace. If you enjoyed this story, hit the subscribe button and tell me, whose side would you be, Shiva or Durga? Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story when Shiva reaches the ocean of milk.